Welcome back to another episode of our Made with Love series. This series is all about creating incredible edible gifts that your friends and family will adore. Because who doesn't love receiving cookies? Come on now. This video is part of a larger playlist, the Kin Cookie Collaboration. So once you're done watching this tastiness, be sure to head over and check out all of the other yummy videos in this playlist. Today, I'm going to show you my caramel apple cookies, some white chocolate and cranberry cookies, and finally, we're going to take things right over the top with some glazed cinnamon roll cookies that combine two of the world's best desserts, cinnamon rolls and cookies. All of these amazing recipes and a lot more great edible gift ideas are available in my brand new Made with Love ebook. I've also included some cool printable labels that you can use in all of your gift giving. All of the details about the ebook are in the description box below, so be sure to check them out once you're done watching this video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to some baking. We are getting started with my caramel apple cookies. For this recipe, we are going to get started by mixing up our dry ingredients. So I'm starting with some flour, and to that, I'm going to add some rolled old-fashioned oats, some baking powder, some baking soda, and a little bit of salt. And salt really just helps all of the other flavors in your cookies stand out. I'm going to whisk this all together so it's well combined, and then I'm going to set it aside and get to work on grating my apple. I am using Granny Smith apples. You can really use whatever kind of apple you want, but I find Granny Smiths have a nice balance of tartness and sweetness. All I'm going to do is peel them. I like to try to do this in a single peel. My mom used to challenge me to do this, and I really like to be able to live up to her expectations. Now that our apples are peeled, I'm going to grate them up and set them aside. Now it's time to get to work on our wet ingredients. In the bowl of my stand mixer, I'm combining some butter and some brown sugar. I'm going to mix these ingredients until they're light and fluffy. Then I'm going to add a little vanilla extract and 1 egg. I'm going to mix that all together well and then start to add my dry ingredients. I'm going to add my dry ingredients half at a time to make sure they get well incorporated. And of course, we can't forget our apple. Not to worry if your apple has browned a little bit in the process, that's just the natural function of apples. It's really not going to affect the final cookie at all. Once your dough has come together, you can simply scoop it onto a non-stick baking sheet. And I'm sure you're wondering where the caramel is. Well, for this recipe, we're using these tasty caramel candies. I actually just bought these from my bulk food store and unwrapped them. And because it's the holidays and we're just gonna add a whole caramel to the center of each of these cookies. Into the oven these go at 350 degrees for between 10 and 12 minutes. You'll know they're ready when the cookies are nicely browned and that caramel is ooey and gooey and amazing. The best part is that if a few of them have come apart, those are the ones that you save for yourself. You give away the others. These cookies are to die for. They're chewy and flavorful and of course, super sweet thanks to that caramel center. Next up on today's menu, we've got a slightly more sophisticated white chocolate and cranberry cookie. This recipe starts very much in the same way. We're going to be combining our dry ingredients. In this case, I'm simply combining some flour with some baking powder, some baking soda, and a little bit of salt. I'm going to whisk all of that yumminess together and then get to work on my wet ingredients. Once again, we've got some butter in our stand mixer, and I'm just going to mix up half white sugar and half brown sugar. I really find this combination makes for an excellent tasting cookie. Start slow and increase velocity. I have been watching a lot of Star Trek lately, so please forgive all of the references. Once all of that is light and fluffy, we're going to add our vanilla extract and our egg, and then we're going to add our dry ingredients 1/2 at a time until our dough starts to come together. We're also going to be adding some tasty white chocolate chips and some cranberries. Super festive, super delicious. Make these beautiful and red. We're gonna make sure our dough is well mixed, and then it's time to scoop it out onto a non-stick baking sheet. We're gonna take our handy dandy cookie scoop. Obviously you don't need a cookie scoop, you can definitely do this without one. And we are going to create some beautiful little cookies that will make such a gorgeous gift. Into the oven these go at 350 degrees for between 10 and 12 minutes. You'll know they're ready when they get a little golden on top. These cookies not only taste amazing, but they also look really seasonal thanks to the red in those cranberries. Who would not love white chocolate and cranberry cookies for Christmas? Finally today, we're making glazed cinnamon roll cookies. That's right, all of the awesomeness of a cinnamon roll, but the convenience of a cookie. How fantastic does that sound? Once again, we are starting by mixing up some flour with some baking powder and some salt. We're gonna whisk that together well, set it aside, and get to work on our wet ingredients. All right, like any great sugar cookie, this starts with butter. I know they recommend unsalted butter for baking, but I always go with the salted. Next, it is all about some white sugar. Once that's all light and fluffy, we're going to add some vanilla extract and 1 egg. We're going to add our dry ingredients until our dough comes together, and then we are going to chill our dough. This is really, really important for this recipe because chilling your dough is going to make it a lot easier to roll. So I'm simply going to pour my dough out into some plastic wrap and then put it in the fridge for an hour. Or you could also speed things up by putting it in the freezer for 15 minutes or so. While our dough is chilling, we're going to get to work on our cinnamon filling. Now let's just talk about how great things happen when you mix melted butter and brown sugar. Great things like this. So this is the base of our filling, and we're also going to take it even a step further by adding some cinnamon, because these are cinnamon roll cookies, of course. And what we'll do next is roll out our cookie dough. I like to use 2 pieces of plastic wrap to roll out my dough because I find it is the best way to prevent your dough from sticking. I'm going to roll out my dough to about 1/4 inch, and then I'm simply going to spread my cinnamon sugar mixture all over the top. Now it's time to roll this beauty up. And the plastic wrap is a great way to prevent the dough from sticking to your hands. And we're almost there. Roll, 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 roll. Once you've created a log shape, you want to wrap this in plastic wrap again and then put it back into the refrigerator. Trust me, having these cookies chilled makes them a lot easier to cut. Once your dough is chilled, all you're going to want to do is take a serrated bread knife and cut them into 1/2-inch discs. And then I just arrange them one by one on my baking sheet, and it's as easy as that. Into the oven they go at 350 degrees, once again for between 10 and 12 minutes. In the meantime, we're going to get to work on creating our glaze. And this really couldn't be simpler. We're just mixing some powdered sugar with a little bit of milk. I'm going to transfer my glaze mixture to a zipper bag to make it easier to work with. Okay, this is what happens when sugar and butter and cinnamon all come together in holy matrimony. I've got my cookies on a wire rack. This helps them cool more evenly and more quickly. And I've got my little makeshift piping bag, and we are just going to drizzle our glaze over our cookies. Think cinnamon roll, people, think cinnamon roll. And that's it, folks. Glazed cinnamon roll cookies that taste as delicious as they look. I really hope you'll give these tasty recipes a try, and if you do, be sure to tweet or Instagram me a photo because you know I love seeing what you're coming up with in your very own kitchens. And be sure to head over and check out all of the other yummy videos in the Kin Cookie collaboration. And of course, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.